Hey everyone! Since my last devlog, I've had such tremendous feedback on my demo. Thank you all for playing it, it really means a lot. I have been slowly chipping away at making changes to the demo. I even had the rare opportunity to have Thomas Brush try it out on his channel where he played many of the games from his students and followers. And I won a competition when I didn't know it was a competition. I just wanted him to try it. Thankfully, he gave me some private feedback. I appreciate this man's experience and his input, so in this video I will be going over a number of changes that he has suggested, which will help me to get my demo ready to submit for a publisher. And this is part one of this little short series. I wanted to give you all a small update on how things are progressing and what my goals are for the game. Based on a lot of feedback, what I got the most was that the main character looked too generic. Okay, I get it, I'll change him. I started out by making a few concepts of what I think Milo might look like with the type of equipment he could acquire on his journey, but they ended up looking too much like mages. I wanted him to stay simple. I could detour and spend most of my time away from developing the game as a whole to study character design, but I really don't want to do that. I've been drawing for over 35 years and I still have a hard time developing my own characters, so I'm trying to recognize my limitations while playing to my strengths. This is my first commercial game after all, and my main goal is to just complete it and release it, while maintaining the best quality that I can be proud of. I set out to add more detail to Milo without sacrificing a lot of the proportions and scale I had set up for him. And as you might have seen with the concept art, I have illustrated him with a cape, which I still plan on adding. But for now, I basically just took what I had and added more detail to the character and more expression to his face. I added a little leaf here because I thought, he's a kid who lives in a forest. And here I gave him a little pouch to store things in and added color and detail to his boots, because his feet in the old version would often blend into the background, and the player needs to know where they're standing. With that done, I wanted to just migrate the art into the rig I had already set up, so I could reuse the animations and so on. Well, crap, I ended up re-rigging and animating him anyway. One of the changes I got from many people and Thomas Brush was the stab attack was too little and it needed a bigger presence. So I made a ground attack with a swipe animation similar to the air attack. I also brought back an upward and downward attack from an older version of the game, which is pretty satisfying now. Finally, I added a 2 to 3 hit combo and a running attack. I think this feels a lot better now since I want the combat to feel more engaging when the player encounters various enemies. Another thing that Thomas mentioned was that I needed to move the cutscene to the beginning of the game in order to introduce the story from the start. Well, that caused a bit of a problem for me since the ending cutscene was meant to be a sort of full picture given to the player to explain the dream that was introduced at the beginning of the game, as well as the goal for the player to travel to the temple in the first place. So I had to restructure how the story and demo flows together, which took a lot of brainstorming. And to be honest, I'm still working on it, but I think I'm finally onto something. Another point Thomas made, which ties into the previous one, is to give the player a real sense of the danger he's facing. One of the things that I was told was that the story talks about this imminent danger, but then you start into the world, it's this pretty nice looking beautiful world. Where's the danger? So one of the ways is to give the player a sense of loss, and I'm still working on that, but also to rebrand the enemies so they look more threatening. Well, I experimented with some ideas and I landed on this theme using purples and blacks to kind of give it this corrupted vibe that starkly contrasts the world that we are seeing. Whereas everything is vibrant, blues and greens, there will be places where the spreading corruption, so to speak, will taint the land. Thereby, the enemies the player faces will have this same theme. I wanted to use what I already have, so I don't double the work or remake the entire thing. I started with the little jelly guy and gave him this black color with these purple gashes that show this almost breathing feel to his corrupted nature, if that makes sense. I also used this all-in-one shader tool to quickly add a somewhat fiery outline to the jelly guy, and this effect to the lines on its body to give it more life. I think it's a great tool to get certain effects added to your sprites in your game quickly. You can find this all-in-one shader by Seaside Studios on the Unity Asset Store. I'll post a link in the description. And then I moved on to adding an enemy that I had been thinking about for a while. He's a little imp-like creature who I think might serve as sort of a foot soldier to our main antagonist. Encounters with this guy could be a little tricky depending on what variation you face. I plan on adding this theme to a lot more of the enemies that I have already established, like I said, and that will likely fit in the area that they're in, like the tree sentinels in the forest, and so on. And speaking of the environment, I always wanted to go back and tweak some things to add more variety. I discovered this method to create rocks quickly, which I think adds more to the scene, and I retooled the ground art to be more modular than what I had previously. I also tweaked the clouds, gave them a little bit more texture, because it always just looked too smooth to me. This is a lot of nitpicky stuff, but it makes me more satisfied with the overall look. I also added a few more things to interact with, like breakable platforms, elevator platforms, bushes and thorns that can be cut down. Stuff like this to add more to the experience and immersion, which was also suggested by Thomas Brush. That's it for now. There are a lot of things that I'm tweaking and working on that feels like I'm slowly chipping away at stone. But my goal with all these tweaks is to pitch this demo to a publisher and see if I can move on to working this game full time. It's taken me 2 years to make this demo, and it's taken me almost another 6 months or maybe another year to add tweaks to it. As many of you indie devs out there know, trying to work a full-time gig as well as develop a game on the side can take a lot of time, patience, and a lot of persistence and dedication. There's still a lot I'm working through, which is also giving me new ideas, and I hope to add to the full game. So thanks for watching, everyone. I'll update you with more soon. Catch you later.